On that note, let's bring in our panel. Skyping in from Washington, D.C., Ari Rabin-Havt, host of The Agenda on Sirius XM Radio and a former aide to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. And from our South Florida Newsmax newsroom, the managing editor of the Shark Tank political blog, Javier Manjarres. Gentlemen, welcome. Ari, we talked about it. It was going to be a tough row to hoe for Mary Landrieu. Soon she will be out of the U.S. Senate. What does that mean for the future of the Democratic Party in the South?
I mean, I don't think there's much of one at the moment. I think, you've seen a shift in the South starting in 1968 and moving since then. And I think legitimately places like Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas are going to be increasingly hard for Democrats to win. And this shows that. I don't think anybody expected Mary Landrieu to win that runoff. I think everybody kind of wrote that off the day after Election Day, and this is just confirming what everybody knew.
Now, Javier, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the defeat of Mary Landrieu, there is no senator from the South who is affiliated with the Democratic Party any longer.
You're not Bill Nelson from Florida?
Well, that's true. There is Bill Nelson.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
Look,
you're copping a plea for the Democrats. It was a clever ploy on my part. Okay, yes, there is Senator Nelson there.
There is Senator Nelson. Look, people thought the same thing of Mary Landrieu. She was going on her fourth term. I think there's room for the Democrats here. And again, I think the bigger issue for the Republicans moving forward, especially in 2016, is how well they can control the power that's been bestowed upon them with this majority now in the Senate. And are they going to screw the pooch? Are they going to lose? Are they going to be able to retain these seats or pick up more? I think there's always room for Democrats or Republicans, depending on what the time is, to pick up seats from the other party. So I wouldn't count the Democrats out in the least.
Looking back at the Landrieu campaign, was this in essence, Javier, just a referendum on President Obama?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole election was. This is a anti-Obama election, just like back in 2008. It was an anti-Bush election. People voted for Obama because of what they perceived Bush as being. Again, this was a referendum on Obama. Look, we don't know what's going to happen in 2016. You never know. Maybe a referendum on Republicans. Like I said, if they fail to lead how they said they're going to lead in the next couple of years.
Well, let me ask Ari about the prospects for the Democrats. Soon your old boss goes from being Senate Majority Leader to Senate Minority Leader. In the minute and a half remaining, will he rue the day that they streamlined Senate procedures and went for the so-called nuclear option?
Well, I don't think over the next 2 years it matters because it only applies to executive nominations, et cetera. So over the next 2 years, that really doesn't come into play. I think looking to the future, you have a map in 2016 that's fairly favorable to Democrats. So I don't think they'll rue that day at all.
Well, the situation is a challenge. Javier, you mentioned the fact that politics can swing back and forth much like a pendulum. In the minute that remains, what about the situation involving amnesty? You've got Ted Cruz and some others, Jeff Sessions of Alabama, holding tough right there. But with what's going on in the House and what seems to be a capitulation, does that create problems for those Senate seats in 2016 that'll be up for Republicans?
I think it'll pose problems for any seats. Even some of these House seats are up in 2016, or all the House seats are up in 2016. Look, this issue, Americans are against illegal immigration from their immigration reform, but again, anyone who supports illegal immigration or amnesty or the president's executive orders is going to have a tough go at it in their next upcoming election.
Final 15 seconds to you, Ari. Very quickly, your thoughts on that.
Look, I think, frankly, if I were Republicans, I like the plan, and I'm speaking as a Republican. I think pushing that debate off till March is I'd go to war with the bigger numbers, and they have bigger numbers in the new year.
A little tactics, some help from a Democrat for the Republican leadership. There's more ahead with these gents. Stay with us.